Yeah, I speak to a lot of alumni through this job, and one of the big things I hear often is that when they come back to Canada, or if they come back to Canada, they feel that their experience and everything they've done and kind of makes them a little bit more prepared than their Canadian colleagues. Can you speak to that at all?
Absolutely, yeah. I I tread this area with caution just because I don't want to put like a superiority towards like one education or another. But I work with another physio who was trained here in Ontario, and I don't know if it's the degree of, you know, pain science even that we get into in the like lecture side of things, or the nature and like Christian said, the amount of hours you get in clinic, but you see a lot of stuff and you do have a lot of experience in so many different areas that you can really see the whole picture. You really treat the whole person and not just the injury that's presenting to you. And that, you know, really does lead to the best clinical outcomes. And I do find that I work really closely with the other physio. She's great, but there are different areas that we sort of work together on in certain treatment care because she just found that they never really got that level of experience, I would say. And it's hard, right? Doing a 3-year program as opposed to 2 as well here. You do obviously get a lot more both
Mhm.
hands on time in theory, but yeah, you do kind of feel a lot more like equipped and well rounded for a lot of things that come through the door.
Yeah, and I would really echo that. Um, I was the only person with less than about a decade of experience when I started at my first job. And then not long after that, we took on another new grad who had graduated from the University of Alberta. And she echoed a lot of the same things where it seemed that right out of the gate, we were a little bit more prepared for independent practice, especially, which is what private practice is. You are not working under the direction, you know, here's a total hip replacement, get them out of bed, please. Right? It's here's a patient, they have complaints, figure it out.
Mhm.
And the pain science was a big one. And what I've really heard kind of in the community here as I start going into the more advanced practice courses and stuff is that a lot of physios feel the profession in Australia is a little bit more developed and a little bit more elevated than it is in Canada, which is one reason why the MPT is still the only degree you can receive in Canada. You don't have that ability to receive the additional clinical experience. And in Australia, you have a slightly broader scope as well. For example, here I'm in the middle of taking my course so I can order diagnostic imaging. And that's just part of your education in Australia for the DPT. So there's some of those components where, because they're preparing you for, and they said this a lot, for the future of the profession and to be leaders in the physiotherapy profession going forward, they prepare you for rights and privileges that may be granted to the profession in the next 5 to 10 years. The pharmacology education we receive is well beyond anything that we need for any kind of acute care or private practice. And it really is setting you up for what the profession may be, both there and here in the next 10, 20 years, as compared to what it is right now.
Yeah,
I'll
wow.
also just, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Cierra.
I was just going to add based on Christian, because he brought up a good point. The other thing I will say is I think there's a lot of really incredible leading physios who are driving research in Australia as well. So I find as a whole, in terms of like the healthcare in general, there's a lot more up-to-date evidence-based thing, like, you know, treatment methods for so many different professions. So for an example, for like hip replacement surgeries, there's a lot more evidence for, you know, like exercise-based therapies over like passive modalities and things like that. But it seems like as a whole in healthcare, everyone's a little bit more up to date on the research and really, you know, prioritizes and respects physios as a really important like aspect to that team and that recovery. And so I do find that things just get pushed forward a little bit, you know, better because everyone's on that same up-to-date evidence, whereas I do find Canada might be a little bit slower with putting in the up-to-date evidence into everyday practice, like amongst all different professions in the healthcare field.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting. It sounds like you both felt like you're very confident starting right at the gate right after graduation. So that's great too.